What's up? What's up? What's up? It's Thursday. We're hanging out again, and can we just take a deep breath? I think we all need it. It has been a tough week. It feels like forever ago I was here filming for another Thursday hangout, but here we are again. And just in the nature of things this week, I'm not going to do a top three, and I just want to share a short word with you guys this week, because as we get into this week and we finish a week that's been super heavy in our country, in our city, in our towns, even in our homes, I think it's a good time we dive in to Scripture more, we dive into God more, and we take a little less time diving into our screens. So because of that, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on a top three or a video this week, but just wanted to give you a short word and leave that with you and your family this week. As I've struggled this week of what to share, what to even talk about, should I talk about anything, I keep coming back to one thing. And I keep asking myself, what can I do? What can I say? Spent time last night talking with students, and we talked a little bit about it's frustrating. It's frustrating in a lot of different avenues right now. It's frustrating to see things. It's frustrating not really, I think, to have an answer. And that's where I lie today, is I don't have an answer, and that's frustrating. And as I sat on that, I think about that a little more, and I think, it's okay not to have an answer. Why do I feel like I always need an answer? Maybe that's the world we're in, where there's always seems like there's some kind of answer. Maybe it's part of our culture. Maybe it's just our situation. Maybe it's just me personally, who feels like they should always have an answer. But as I've talked to some people, I think that's one thing, is it's frustrating because I don't have an answer. And there's a good chance you don't have one answer as well. And just sitting with that, I think that's okay. It's okay not to have answers. Because if you have an answer, it means you have a good question. If you have a good question, you have a good answer. And it means you're able to think about that question and give a good answer. And that's why I think it's important to question things. And I tell students this all the time, is I want you to be in your faith journey, and I want you to question things. I want you to dive into questions, because those questions will make your faith journey a lot healthier, because you're going to wrestle with things. You're going to struggle with things. You're going to have questions that you may not ever have an answer for. You may not ever understand, but you're going to wrestle with that, and it's going to make you stronger wrestling with that question. If I was to give somebody all the answers to everything in Scripture and everything in the Bible, there's a good chance they would just kind of be like, okay, well, that is what it is, and I don't need anything else because I've got all the answers. Well, that's not how faith works, and that's not what faith is. And when I think about these hard times, and it goes back to that thing, what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? How would Jesus act? How would Jesus act? And you think about what Jesus did, was he was one of the greatest teachers ever. He was somebody that could captivate an audience. He was somebody that always understood everybody. But the common thing about Jesus was he always asked questions. He would always ask people questions. And when you go through and you read about Jesus and you read the interactions he had with people, and you read some of the parables, there's a common theme of Jesus asking questions. And he was a great teacher. And I think all that's for a purpose. And I think that's where we start. It's been a tough, heavy week. I don't have answers. But what I can do is I can sit back and I can ask questions. And I struggle with those questions and not worry about the answer right now. That I think about the question and not worry about the answer or the solution right now. Because when I have the right questions, I'll have the right answers. And Scripture teaches us that. When we deal with things in our life, when we go through those valleys, when we go through those mountaintop experiences, we ask ourselves a lot of questions usually. And we get answers from those. So I think it's important during this time that we listen, but that we ask questions. And we wrestle with questions. And we understand it's okay to not have all the answers right now. But if we're going to start with trying to find an answer, we've got to start with the questions. And that is something Jesus did through his life. It's something common through Scripture, is this idea of questions and then action. Have a great week.